it's interesting in just about every company I've been involved with on the startup side, this is one that you almost jump over, because you get to the point where the engineers in a small kind of startup and entrepreneurial, they just start designing. Okay, we've got what we need, we're just going to start designing. Okay, it comes back to bite you. I'm not saying that you have to be IBM or Analog Devices with a stage gate process that goes through, rigorous, but you got to create a spec that goes back to the market requirements in engineering, that's based on that has the trade-offs, prioritizations. You're identifying, are there any new processes that have to be developed as a result of the marketing requirements? Technology gaps, think about that up front instead of a few months, a few weeks, few months down the road where you say, oh my gosh, we need to have Bluetooth as part of this because we have to go wireless. Development schedules versus requirements, budgets. So, it's easy, and in fact at Azuki, with our first version of our platform, we were a little bit loose on this, and we just went right to design. We kind of thought we knew what we had, we did the whole thing. It comes back to bite you. You get the marketing guys kind of going up against the engineering guys that you really didn't design to what I had in mind. Put it down on paper, create the spec. So it's one of those stages that sometimes gets skipped, but I think is really, really important. This is probably the most important step in the process to me, outside of the idea validation. Okay. I'll take an example back in micro-optical. We were out, we took the head-mounted display idea that, and we brought it and we said we're going to make a commercial product for it that could plug into any kind of a mobile device, and you could actually display an image out in front of you, and it's a beautiful image, low power, and it's a really cool idea. I went around the world a couple times to Korea, Japan, and I talked to LG, and I talked through slideware. Okay, and wouldn't it be great? Can you just envision wearing a piece of glasses and something appearing out in front of you, and it's going to be beautiful and gorgeous, and it only takes you so far. You have to put something in front of these guys. You have to give them something they can hold, something they can put on, something that shows them kind of a representation of technology. And we actually went out and, with that in mind, created about, I guess, 3 or 4 hand-built custom prototypes of what we were talking about. Now, this wasn't our final product, okay? It had a lot of things that had to be changed, but we hand-built demos, prototypes, so I could go back out to Samsung and LG and Casio and Panasonic and say, take a look at this. With e-ink, with this idea of electrophoretic displays. And what it is, it's really a cool thing. It's a piece, it's a foundation, a piece of plastic that you actually coat with an ink. And the ink actually has little micro balls that have positively and negatively charged black and white particles suspended in a fluid within the ball. And these are the diameter of your hair, and it's all basically coated onto a piece of plastic. And what happens is when you apply a field, a differential across the balls, you can take the white and black particles and you can have them switch. So now you can actually do things like that. So now you can actually control those balls in a very, very low-cost method. It looks like kind of ink on paper. It's a paper-like kind of display. It's flexible. Some of these displays that you can see there, that's one of the cool things about it. It's flexible. But so we go and talk to these people and say, we have this really cool technology, and I'd show these great slides with these little balls, micro, and they're flipping all the charges and all the colors, and it's really cool. And they're kind of going, okay, sounds good. All right, well, we'll see you in a couple of months. So it was good. It got me to that point. We got some feedback, but to take that really next step, you had to go out and you had to have, samples like this. And now you put this in front of them and you actually show stuff working, and you show the balls switching, and you see the displays, and it's lightweight and it's very low power, and it's resistant to the temperature, and you can show them the different ways that it's flexible. Well, now they get it, and now this was one of the easiest sells I've ever had in my life, because you put this in front of them and it does all those cool things that we said it could do, and they can see it, and it was just it just really clicked. So really, really important. Get to that point where you get a prototype, get a demo in front of these people. It just takes that next step. And then go to market plan, and this is where I kind of do the handoff to Bruce. In fact, when we worked for Paul at Micro Optical, I did all the stuff I'm talking about, and then Bruce actually did do all the stuff he's going to talk about. So we did have that handshake where I had to kind of pass things off and on. And it's kind of it's not a real hard cut kind of, okay, I'm done. Bruce, go sell. There's a lot that goes into when you have the idea, voice of the customer, requirements, spec, design your prototypes, now you're on the production side, you're getting ready to launch your product. To really queue up the sales piece of it, your job's really not done. You need to put together your product positioning, because when you're sales and you're going out and now you're going to try to close the deals, you're going to get it. So tell me, why is this better than my LCD display right now? So you have to be able to answer those questions. Why are you better than company ABC, who's kind of doing this kind of thing? So you need to put together that product positioning for the person to go out and close the deals. And then you need to put together the pricing and the channel strategy as well. And this is where you're working interactively with the guys who are going to be the go-to-market people as well. Communications plan, support literature, extremely important. We actually put together demo kits at Micro Optical, and then they were great. I mean, they're fabulous. You bring a demo kit and you actually leave it with a customer, and it was a big deal. Sales and channel plan, putting together that here's the sales plan, here's our forecast. And then you always have the forecast is you sit down with the sales team, and then you have the marketing team, and then the marketing team goes, well, this is the way it's going to go, right? Because that's how I built my business plan. Sales team goes, yeah, right, Mark. Let's dial that one back a little bit. So you kind of do that back and forth as well.